5 seconds left. He inbounds the pass, takes it to the right, cuts it back at the buzzer. Well, it hit the net. This is why I play soccer. First try. Jesus Christ. Okay, so as you guys can see, I'm not a basketball player, but I do know a bit about cameras and audio. So the reason why it sounded fairly decent while I was balling out was because I switched over to these Rode Wireless Go. I'm on a wide angle lens, it's hard to see. We'll get better pictures of it later. But it's a lavalier system that definitely helps when you're filming things, you know, not inside a studio like I do a lot of the times, but when you're out and about, these things come in handy. So let's take a look at them today and see how they perform. Oh, man, the sun is freaking brutal. I was gonna film yesterday when we had some like cloudy, nice overcast lighting, but I was lazy and waited till today, and yeah, it's rough. And I don't feel like waiting till later in the day, so we're just gonna have to deal with it. So yeah, we're gonna be talking about the Rode wireless mics. And basically I got these because I want to do more video shooting outside of my office because it gets a little boring and I'm like the palest person ever, so I could probably use some sun. So I already have a lavalier setup. I'm using a Movo setup, but there are a couple things I don't like about it. One being that you have to use AA batteries, two being that it's big and bulky. So a lot of people use these Rode Wireless Go microphones. This is the Go 2 actually. And I guess I'll just show you basically what you get when you buy it. So it comes in this nice, I don't know, it's just a neoprene pouch. You get 2 of the transmitters. So here's one, I am wearing the other one. It looks just like this, I promise. And you get a receiver that is on the camera now. And you don't get a lavalier mic with it, so you have to supply your own, just a standard 3.5 millimeter TRS connecting lavalier mic will work. You also get these cute, adorable little windscreens that can fit on top of the microphone, because these actually, you don't need a lavalier mic. You could attach this directly to your shirt. There's a clip, and you could use this directly as your mic. So if you want, you can pop the windscreen directly on top where the microphone is, and we have a cute little microphone. And you can use this however you please, and we will test this out in a bit. Yeah, some other things you get are the connector, obviously, so the 3.5 millimeter connector to connect to your camera or your phone or whatever, but phones don't really have headphone jacks anymore. So yeah, I think I paid around $200 for this, and it fluctuates depending on which retailer you go with or which sketchy Craigslist person you deal with. But I think it's a pretty good deal. I've used it once or twice, but today I'm going to be testing it out a bit more. So let's do that. All right, so one of the major benefits about using a lavalier setup like this is that I can be as far away or as close to the camera as I want and still get decent audio, as opposed to if you're using a microphone that sits on top of your camera like I have now, but that's not very practical if I'm moving about. So, man, I have not ridden this bike in a while. These tires are like pancakes. So the Wireless Go 2 uses 2.4 gigahertz transmission. That'll give you about 200 meters of distance, and that's just open sight. So if you have things in the way, obviously it's not going to be as much. It has 128-bit encryption, so if somebody tries to steal your audio wirelessly, all of it is encrypted between the transmitter and receiver, so you're safe. It is a dual channel system. Like I mentioned before, you can use both transmitters with one receiver and get 2 channels of audio. Another cool thing that I like about the Go 2 is that if you're using one, you can have it record 2 channels and one of them be a safety channel, which records a secondary channel at 20 decibels less in case you peak. So for example, if I'm hanging out, just talking normally, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God, look, a puppy. That probably clipped on my regular one, but I'm recording a secondary channel. So Hopefully that secondary one didn't clip. I'm fairly certain it didn't. So pretty cool feature to have if you want to retain nice crispy audio. But what we're going to do now is test the actual mic on here. So you do get internal recording. It says up to 50 hours of recording time internally on this. So you don't even need to have it connected to a camera to record. And another cool thing is that if you're recording internally while you're out and about doing something and you lose connection to the camera and you don't have your audio synced with your video, you can download the audio tracks directly off of the transmitter using the Rode included software. I can't remember the name. So what we're gonna do is attach this guy to myself. We're gonna take the receiver that's on the camera, attach it to my iPhone, give myself a nice little setup, and take the bike for a spin to check how it handles, oh God, how it handles wind noise. Okay, so as you can see, we are on a bicycle. Yeah, hello. We are on a bicycle, and we also have the microphone attached to our shirt. You can see with the pseudo chest hair looking thing going on. So this will be a test to see how it performs in an environment that's not an office where you do have wind and whatnot. So I'm gonna artificially induce my wind with my breakneck biking that's going on here, and we're gonna see how it sounds. So yeah, obviously Mother Nature doesn't always wanna play ball and might throw you a hurricane every once in a while. And I know if you're running just a traditional boom microphone sitting on top of your camera, you will probably not enjoy those windy days. So I know for a fact right now, the boom microphone that I use would not like this audio. I'm hoping that this lavalier handles it better. But what I want to do is find a spot to actually pull over and listen to the audio to see how it sounds. Preferably not in front of somebody's house, because that would be a little creepy. So let's go ahead and do that. Up here comes the neighborhood troublemakers. Okay, so I just listened back to the audio. Whoa. I just listened back to the audio, and honestly, it sounded pretty good. The wind, when I was on the bike, I immediately thought there's no way we're gonna get usable audio out of this thing, but listening back to it, I think it might be doing some type of audio processing in the background to eliminate some of that wind noise, but honestly, we're getting usable audio out of it, even while there's wind out and while riding a bike. So right now, there's not much going on, so this is probably how you can expect the microphone to sound in a normal environment, and pretty impressive, not gonna lie. Woo! Okay, yeah, got a nice half-mile bike ride in. That's my exercise for the day. So like I mentioned before, you do get 2 transmitters. So obviously I'm wearing one. This is the other. And a good thing about that is that if you have 2 people, you can get both of their audio nice and crispy no matter where they are in the scene. So let me go find another person to test this with and show you guys out. Hey, can you help me with this video? You just gotta like wear a microphone. Can you do that?
Why? No one watches your videos anyway.
Well, just help, okay? Yeah, adjust this guy a little bit. We're looking a little low. There we go. Yeah, I mean, duh.
Standing here.
Well, I mean, it's recorded now, so now it's even more awkward that you acknowledged it. Okay, so now both are being recorded. Let's find you a good, nice vest here. It's like 70 degrees out. Relax.
It's cold inside.
Yeah, okay, you're being picked up. So, yeah, we're both in the scene. I have my channel being recorded to left or right. Yours is being recorded to the other. So even if I am way out of focus and I'm like, hey, tell us about your new hobby that you are doing right now.
I'm starting to work on some stained glass.
Stained glass,
Teaching
wow.
myself how to stain glass.
Do you stain it with like food dye?
No, you just cut glass.
Oh, so you're a glass cutter now.
Yeah.
Now, I'm gonna go even further. I'm gonna go like down, tell the people how far away I am.
It's pretty far away. He's
that's not like a number.
I'm
Feet?
about to give him a number. He's
Meters. How
probably
many
like
bananas?
50 feet, I'd say.
How many bananas long would you estimate?
Probably like 75 bananas.
75 bananas. And here I come, back into the scene. Here I come.
Okay.
I'm back. So yeah, as you can see,
intense.
I know. As you can see, we are recording. I keep doing this in the video, like I'm like a cheerleader. Is this like the sorority girl pose? You're in sorority, right? So is this the sorority girl pose?
Kind of.
Wow. Okay,
yeah.
that was cool. But yeah. So another note. This whole time, when I wasn't recording directly on the thingy, I've been using the Rode lavalier mic. They just came out with a new one, but I got that pre-ordered. But I'm using the original one. So if you're wondering why it sounds different or what mic I'm using, actual lavalier mic, it's the official Rode one. I guess I'm a Rode fanboy, but I don't know if I mentioned this earlier. These things, I keep doing this because I think I'm wearing it, but I'm not. These things get 7 hours of battery life. So if you need more than 7 hours of recording, then I don't know. That's pretty good for how small they are, which they are pretty tiny.
Pretty compact.
I know, look at this. You could probably fit this in your mouth. Should I do it?
Probably sounds really good.
Yeah, it was on. So yeah, anyway, let's go back up to the studio and I will give you my thoughts on these as a whole. Yeah. And as if by magic, we are back in the studio and I want to go over a couple of things. So the last thing I want to talk about is the software, but before we get to that, right now I am recording off of my Rode NTG4 Plus, so that's why it sounds different if you want a studio comparison. So all of this right now is on the boom microphone, the NTG4 Plus, and now we are on the lavalier mic. So this is the difference between the Rode NTG4 and the lavalier mic. So I don't know how it sounds. I just uploaded the footage from earlier over here that I've been messing with. And let's talk about that for a second. So immediate impressions are that it sounds really good, especially with the Rode lavalier mic. You get really, really good quality out of it. Now, one thing with the iPhone recordings, when I was doing the bike test, I didn't have the backup channel on, so it is clipping a little bit, but that is kind of my fault, not really a fault of the Rode Wireless Go 2 itself. So that leads me into kind of one of my negatives is that it's not the most intuitive thing to use. You only get pretty much an on and off button, and then on the receiver, you get very limited controls. Now, you can see right here when it's recording, you can see what it looks like. The controls aren't that great. You get 2 buttons on the bottom, and that's pretty much it to navigate through. So I do wish you had a little bit more intuitive controls on it, but obviously that's a trade-off you have to make with something this small and compact. And if you asked me 9 times out of 10, I would say I would rather a small, compact form factor over something larger with more intuitive controls. So what I was using before were these Movo transmitter and receivers. And yeah, these do get better range for sure, but they are big, they are bulky. I mean, look at the size comparison between these two things. Like, you and the guy she tells you not to worry about. So yeah, I definitely will take the trade-offs, as these will now be my permanent lavalier setup moving forward. So let's talk about the software that I mentioned before, and that's where you will make some adjustments to the functionality of some of these things. So I'm gonna go ahead and plug this in, plug it in, just use a standard USB-C cable. And depending on which computer you have, USB-A or USB-C on the other end, plug that in. And here you can see that I have connected my receiver. And in here, this is the Rode Central application. You can get it for Windows, Mac, pretty sure Linux. And here you can have a bunch of settings. And here you'll see a bunch of these settings. You can change the backlight to always be on, always be off. The gain mode if you want it fine or coarse when you're making adjustments. So that's, you have a button on the receiver to adjust the gain of the audio signal coming in. So I have it set to fine, so I can do fine adjustments on the decibels. If you want a standard coarse, I think it goes minus 20, minus 10, minus 6, I think maybe. I don't know, but we're gonna set that to fine. The mode, split or merged. Now I keep it on split. This can be changed in real time by holding both of the buttons simultaneously on the receiver, and it will change from merge to split. Now split is recording both channels independently. Merged is taking both of them and recording them together. So I actually set it to merged in here because when you do that, you can toggle the safety channel on and off. By default, it's off, which I don't know why. That's kind of weird. But go in here immediately. If you get this, plug in the receiver, go in here and set the mode to merged and change the safety channel to on. That way you can get the safety channel to account for any clipping that may happen. And then you can control what the on-off button really does. If you want to toggle the backlight on and off, you can do that marker. I honestly don't know what this does, but I like having it toggle the backlight. So yeah, that's the receiver. Now, if we plug in the transmitter, you will see any internal recordings that are on. Now you can see I have two right here simply because when I got into the office, I went into the settings and set this to always record. So no matter what happens, the microphone, the internal mic will be recording all the time. Now I only did that because, yeah, I don't have it hooked up to my camera right now and I just wanted a recording. So I would recommend setting this to backup. So just that when you're recording on your camera, it's recording internally. That way you have a backup. If you lose signal or something happens with your camera, you will have a recording stored internally. So next is this pad setting. That is basically going to toggle a low sensitivity mode. You can do that in here, or you can do a long press of the dB button on the transmitter or receiver. This button, one single press mutes the microphone and a long press activates the padding. LED, basically the screen, do you want it dim or bright? And then the same setting as before with the on-off button. So pretty intuitive in the actual software. Like I said before, not so intuitive on here, but I think that will come with using it more often. Like I said, I've used this for a couple of days, so I'm not really an expert on it, but I am very impressed with it. One thing I wish it came with was a charging case, but it doesn't. So I bought this guy off of Amazon. This is the ZG Cine. I guess that's how you say it, maybe, but it was $50 and I think it's well worth it. So it is designed specifically for the wireless Go 2s and you get this nice plastic. Build quality isn't the greatest, but your transmitter or your receiver and two transmitters fit right in here and charge via the internal battery on here. So I think it's a 3,400 milliamp hour battery. Yeah, it's pretty cool. This is charged to 100%. You can see by the lights on the front. And while these are plugged in, these are, oh God. While these are plugged in, these are being charged. So it's super convenient. One, because you can take this with you and charge your setup on set and away from any power or electricity. And two is that you can charge all of your devices with one setup. So I can plug this directly in to a USB-C power. And just like that, I am charging the case and I'm charging all three of my Go wireless products. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the Rode Wireless Go 2. I'd be curious to know if you guys have this and what you think about it, or if you're using a different lavalier solution. What are you using and are you happy with it? But yeah, let me know down in the comments what your basic audio setup is and if you're looking to upgrade. But yeah, that's it. That's all I have today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, drop a like If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. I appreciate you guys stopping by, and I will see you next time.